Hello everyone, and welcome back to another month of Drams Delivered. This month we're going to be trying something a little bit different from everything that we've tried before, really. We're going to be trying a Blair Atholl 7-year-old, but it's not a normal Blair Atholl. This is actually an independent bottle. What is an independent bottler? Well, an independent bottler is a person or company who buys casks of whiskey and then bottles them for sale themselves. So an example might be Adelphi, the Thompson Brothers, or in this case, the Single Cask. They don't actually produce the whiskey themselves. They pick other people's, either from private individuals or from companies who buy and sell casks. So yeah, a bit more interesting and something just a wee bit special. So tell us a little bit about this one here, Matthew.
Yeah, so John's kind of told you a little bit about what independent bottlers do and are. Just to clarify, they don't all release bottles this size. They do release normal size bottles too, but we'll touch on kind of why we have this little bottle in front of us just now. The Single Cask as a company were founded in 2010 by Ben Curtis, and he's just a big whiskey fan and wanted to bottle whiskey as it is, how it should be, and his focus was on distilleries that are not normally seen. So things like Ben Nevis, Ben Riach, and this 7-year-old Blair Atholl. Now, his stuff tends to be sold mainly in Singapore. Ben has a bar out there, but we were lucky enough to meet him here in the malt room. He popped in one day and it was one of those people you kind of just know with the way he looked at a menu that he knew his whiskey. And as soon as we got chatting, we kind of clicked, because myself and John are big fans of independent bottles, cask strength, single cask, no chill filtration, just kind of whiskey how it should be. And that was maybe 3-4 years ago Ben was in the bar. And just recently we were down at an event in Edinburgh and we crossed paths again. And I seen him kind of going around this office in Edinburgh, and he was planting these little baby bottles all around the office. And I was like, what is he doing? And it was quite funny. He was just kind of hiding them for people to find them. And he very kindly gave me a few samples to take up the road. And we got them home and we tried it and we absolutely loved it. And this is how we started talking about Drams Delivered. And Ben and his team have very kindly supported Drams Delivered and helped us with some stock. And we're going to try it. And there's actually a really funny story about why it's in very, very small bottles, but should we have a dram while we do that?
Let's try it, yeah.
It's definitely my turn to open the bottle this month, isn't it?
And I'm going to enjoy this one.
Okay, so talk amongst yourselves.
No. Let's just see how you get on here.
Kind of maybe, it's a very good seal at the Single Cask. Excellent work.
And nothing worse than a loose seal, is there?
Nothing worse.
The only thing worse than a loose seal is a tight one that you can't open. That you struggle with.
No. This is the professional. Look at that. There we go.
There we go.
Superb.
Now,
so,
let's hear the pop.
Let's hear the wee baby pop. Wow. Okay. Right. Here we go.
Lovely. Thank you.
You are welcome.
Now, what can you expect from a single cask of whiskey?
Big mouthfeel. Higher alcohol. So for me, it's the way whiskey should be, because we can add water to it and cut it down to whatever strength you like. When you buy official bottles from distilleries, it's designed to be the same every time you buy them. So that if you buy one in Tesco's and you buy one in London and etc., that the quality should always be the same, and that's great. But it's not boring, but it's not as exciting as single casks. Single casks are one-offs, really exciting, and it's lovely to try stuff like that. The only downside is if you really like it, it's in limited supply. That's the only downside.
For me, that's part of the joy of single casks, is you might be able to get the chance to try an amazing bottle that's just perfect for your taste, and you might never see it again in your life. But who knows, you might stumble across it in a bar one day, and yeah, that's part of the joy of whiskey, I think.
Should we have a wee nose?
Let's have a wee nose and a wee taste.
Slange.
Slange of a. Cheers. So this was aged for 7 years in a first fill oloroso octave, so that's a 60-litre cask, and it's been bottled at quite a hefty 56.3, so it's not been diluted with water at all. It's just been bottled at natural cask strength, No chill filtration, no colouring. It's whiskey at its most natural, if you like.
And all the single cask releases are of that sort of checklist. So any bottle you get from them will have no chill filtration, colouring, all the things John just mentioned. So one thing we'd say, if you've never had single cask whiskey before or cask strength whiskey before, I'd recommend getting a little jug of water just on hand. What we will find when you first take a sip is it's very, very intense, and the alcohol's quite high. So let's have a wee taste.
Oh, straight away, classic sherry notes of, I'm going to say leather, brown sugar, toffee, walnuts, but quite dry
and
as well.
That is a lovely dram. The thing I think with single cask whiskey is that I find them almost chewy. So when I take a sip, I kind of go, oh yeah. And the flavour just keeps coming in waves. And it's still there now. Even as I'm talking, it's still there. And as a whiskey fan, I love that. You know, there's nothing worse than taking a sip of whiskey and it's, you know, very easy to drink, but the flavour is very, very short and flat. That is lively, vibrant. That's a very, very nice dram. That's as good as I remember down in Edinburgh. So hopefully you guys are enjoying that. But we should maybe touch on the distillery itself. We've maybe talked a little bit about the single cask and that, but Blair Atholl itself is arguably one of the oldest distilleries. 1798 was when they were founded. But it's a very, very busy site.
I think it is Diageo's busiest visitor centre, seeing something like 1 million people a year.
Wow.
So yeah, very, very busy little place. An interesting distillery, its only real official release is its 12-year-old, which is part of the Flora and Fauna range that we've tried numerous times before. But you do see an awful lot on the independent market. It's one of those distilleries that's quite similar to Clynelish, Coolila in that independent bottlers love it because they know it's going to be pretty good quality. It's very consistent. And yeah, it's very, very good whiskey.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's a big fan. Well, it's very popular with blenders as well. Bell's, which was, you know, ramping up to be one of the biggest blends in the UK. Arthur Bell owned the distillery at one point. It was then sold to Guinness, which is now part of Diageo. So it's Diageo now, but it still does make up a big part of Bell's. But as John says, it's rarely seen as an official bottling. So it's nice to try whiskey like this that you wouldn't normally see. And I think for Drams Delivered, this is the perfect kind of bottle.
Well, maybe not.
Maybe not this bottle.
Maybe a little small.
We haven't even said why.
So I believe it was an accident.
An accident?
Yeah, how do you accidentally put all of your cask into these tiny bottles? I don't know.
How do you do that?
I feel so bad. I mean, that must have been a real oh shit moment. But Ben's been absolutely amazing in handing these samples out and been very kind in giving a few of them to us. And I'm very glad that he has because we've been able to try this amazing dram.
So 60, I think we did the sum, so it's a 60 litre octave. And we chatted about this, we actually think this is the one-off, first ever and only time this has ever happened worldwide that a full cask has been bottled into, a full single cask has been bottled into 50ml bottles. I've never heard that done. It wouldn't make sense to do it, to be honest, but as you say, happy it happened. And I think we did the maths and they must have bottled about 1,200 of these little bottles. And beautiful little bottles. I think I was having a wee look on the Single Cask website. They do lots of little miniatures as well. So if you are wanting to try some more of their stuff, feel free to go onto their website and have a wee look. It's a nice way to try some stuff and hopefully we can do some more bottles with them in the future. I think that's probably all there is to say.
I think so.
Yeah, so hopefully you're enjoying our first independent bottle. It is cask strength, so feel free. We actually didn't add any water, that's because we're
added a little bit. Definitely opens up with a little
I'm
bit
just
of
a
water.
bit of a druth and quite enjoy that strength. So yeah, feel free if you're a classy man like John and have a palate, then feel free to add a few drops of water. But if not, anyway, have your whiskey how you like it, I guess is the end of that story at the end of the day. So Slàinte mhath, thank you very much. Cheers. Slàinte.